Welcome to the channel's book club. Folorunso Alakija is the group managing director of the Rose of Sharon Group. Forbes has ranked her as one of the top 40 richest persons in Africa. But for her, money is a mere tool for good. Her real passion is the Rose of Sharon Foundation, an NGO she set up to cater for the needs of widows and orphans. It was in line with these that she wrote a book titled The Cry of Widows and Orphans, which was launched recently in Lagos. We had a special time with her to discuss the book, her foundation, and her mission to care for widows and orphans. We'll be showing you how that went in the first segment of today's episode.
Many African widows, however, are still being forced to drink the water in which their husband's corpse was bathed to prove their innocence in his death. Some widows are made to sit or sleep with the corpse for long periods, forced to weep and wail loudly at regular intervals, confined to their home without the right to receive visitors.
It opens with a gate of arts, moves into windows of creativity.
She finds the only English word she knows from somewhere hidden in the belly of a 4-foot 9-inch body, and instead of "I won't care," she greets us with "bye bye."
Branches into rooms of color. And ends with a roof of imagination.
Walk into Art House. The pieces all come together at 9:30 p.m. every Saturday. Art House, life is art.
Your Excellency, the wife of the governor.
The topic of widows and orphans is usually spoken about in a loud silence in the society. But one woman is changing the rules by blowing the trumpet.
Sharon Foundation, Mrs. Folorunso Alakija.
Folorunso Alakija, founder of the Rose of Sharon Foundation, an organization involved in the welfare of widows and orphans, is taking the quest a step further with the launch of a book, The Cry of Widows and Orphans.
I'm particularly pleased to have been given an opportunity by God to be able to play this role and to be able to lead other women and men who are members of our board of trustees and my family to be able to use this opportunity as an advocacy on behalf of the widows and the orphans.
With it comes testimonies of the foundation's influence in the lives of those who need it.
Remove the children here. I said, eh? No, say, you come know the grammar, no understand them well. I said, eh? He said, go and find a house. We go pay for you. Make it remove the children. If you find house, you look for school. Where this one and this one will go together. I said, eh?
I want to say a very big thank you to you for your assistance, your support for us. And we pray that God will bless you, God will keep you, God will protect you, and God will give you more life and prosperity.
And accolades from those in support.
It's an expression of great courage, courage by the author, commitment and a sense of sacrifice, because not only has she adopted this initiative as her own way of giving back to society, she has transformed lives, and in transforming lives, she has impacted on socio-economic development of the country.
They have touched over 2,200 lives, both widows, orphans, and the fatherless. So you would agree with me that we need to be there. We need to be on our toes. We need to act, and this is the time to do so.
A remarkable feat from a remarkable woman for a remarkable cause.
Your program was very inspiring, very moving. What motivated you to get involved in issues bothering widows and orphans?
You know, we have a God who's the all-seeing, all-knowing God. The God who created each and every one of us. The one who knows everything that we all need. He knows that there are widows and orphans all over the world that have been crying unto him. It wasn't my choice. It was his choice. One day when I was praying, he told me that where he actually wants me to focus on, as far as ministry is concerned, is towards the widows and the orphans. And he gave me a scripture. I looked at it quickly, and I found that obviously he wants to use people.
Tell us about this book, The Cry of Widows and Orphans. Why did you write it?
The book is being used as a tool to sensitize the public, both at home and abroad, the world over actually, to let them know that there are some groups of people that fall into millions all over the world that need the help of their brothers and sisters. That is why this book needed to be written.
You've written a few other books. Is there one that inspires you a lot?
Oh, yes. A lot of books that have been written by Mrs. Folorunso Alakija. Most especially University of Marriage, which is another book that God told me to write. I've been in marriage now for almost 37 years. I've known my husband for almost 40 years. And for about 2.5 years, God used different people to give me the prophecy that I should go and write a book on marriage. And when I did start writing it, one of the trustees, he was here, we'll be talking to you later, who was also there when I put my pen to paper for the first time, was with me. I believe we were visiting Italy at the time. So, I started writing the book, and on one of the occasions, when I had been waiting on the Lord for a title for the book, God just suddenly flashed the title of the book on the screen of my laptop, University of Marriage. Because I'd prayed and prayed and waited for like four months, asking God for that title. And when it didn't come and time was going, and I wanted to launch it together with another book I was launching for my 60th birthday 2 years ago, the title suddenly came when I actually started writing. So he was just waiting for me to start, and then he would get me.
It's a very intriguing title.
Right. So it's an intriguing title. It's a wonderful book, and it talks all about marriage, and it helps those who are already married, and those who are about to get married, and those who desire to get married.
Finally, do you want to leave a word for people out there, the government, the private sector in the country?
What I'd like to say is, yes, we all may be in our own cozy corners, but we have to stop, look back at our brothers and sisters, and be our neighbors' keepers, be our brothers' keepers, and not forget them. So many of them, the women, most especially, go to bed without one meal for themselves. Whatever they can find, they give to their children. So, if we are living in affluence, if we are living in abundance, if we are able to eat 2 square meals a day, we can afford to give part of one of those meals to somebody who is in dire need. So look around you, brothers and sisters. Stretch out your hand to those who are in need, especially the widows and orphans. And don't ill-treat them, because when you do, and they cry out to God, the Bible tells us that his fury, his curse upon such will be so much that they themselves would wish that they never came into the world.
It's been a pleasure having you.
It's been my pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'm here with some members of the Board of Trustees of the Rose of Sharon Foundation. You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'd like to meet you.
Philo Esene, the legal advisor.
Okay.
Esther Osho, secretary to the foundation.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm Tokwe Olushola, assistant project coordinator.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. What has your experience been like? I'm guessing it must be all very moving and touching for you personally.
It has been being the secretary of the foundation. I get calls from the widows, the orphans a lot when they're in need, and especially when we just started. They want to know how we can help, where they will get the funds from to get into our empowerment letters, empowerment processes, and we do that for them. And then we also make sure that all the letters are ready that when due. And we send to the schools and we write to the schools to inform them that we have these children under our care. It's actually been quite emotional and an eye-opener for me, because before now, I didn't know that widows go through such suffering.
We visit them to find out about their welfare and how they came to be in the state in which we usually meet them. You know, what happened, how their husbands died, and what they have been through since that happened, you know. And then we try and find out their needs, you know. And it's been very uplifting and, like she said, very emotional, because if you don't really interact with them, you wouldn't really know what's going on.
There are two exciting news to share with you. The business community seems set to spearhead the renaissance of the book culture in Nigeria. Julius Berger Nigeria PLC recently donated a stunning 1,000 books to the Lagos Library Board. Remember, we told you that there are 8 public libraries in Lagos, and those libraries can do with a lot of private sector support. Julius Berger is one of the firms taking the lead here. This donation took place at the Yaba Library. Also, telecoms giant Etisalat has launched a new literature award for writers. This is fantastic news for us and a statement of intent from Etisalat. The prize is, wait for this, £15,000. It is the first ever Pan-African prize celebrating first-time writers of published fiction books. It's about time. I hope this will inspire more organizations to get in the mix. Come on, let's get Nigeria reading again. We'll be showing you these immediately after this break. Don't go away.
We donated this book to this library as part of our corporate social responsibility initiative in education. Education happens to be just a pillar of our CSR initiative. The other 2 pillars are in health and sports, okay? And this came about from our own observation, which is known everywhere, that the reading culture in Nigeria has actually dwindled to almost nothing. So much so that our young persons have a culture of writing and speaking what we call GSM English. And as a corporate citizen, responsible corporate citizens of Nigeria, we thought we could intervene in this area to rekindle the passion for reading and writing.
I'm highly elated because we need more books in our library, and as you know, the government cannot do it alone. With this organization, Julius Bayer coming in to donate some books, it's a good gesture. It's a gesture that we welcome in Lagos State. But when I saw their letter, I have to quickly approve it, because the more we get, the more the merrier for us.
Excellent Prize for Literature Award, the first of its kind, here to celebrate Pan-African literature. African literature refers to literary works of and from the African continent. And the Etisalat, a fast-rising GSM operator in Nigeria, is promoting this by rolling out the drums to announce the Etisalat Prize for Literature.
It's a prize that's going to be open to anybody who has written their first novel, and it's a prize that's only open for entries from African citizens, no matter where they live in the world. They need to have a passport of an African country.
The first of its kind, this Pan-African competition is designed to get the creative juices flowing.
I think the most important thing that this prize achieves is to bring out the many new voices, African voices that we know are out there, highly talented people who perhaps have not been given the platform or the recognition that the quality of their work deserves.
With mouth-watering prizes to generate the needed interest to encourage creative writing.
We will buy and donate 1,000 copies of each of the 3 finalists of the prize. So we're interested in not only celebrating the finest that African writers have to offer in fiction, but also to contributing to those writers being read quite widely. We will also have tours by the 3 finalists to different cities, different parts of a book tour, a reading tour to different parts of the continent.
It's a journey that we believe will encourage reading, and it will also encourage creative writing.
African literature has many writers on its wall of fame. Who knows? You could just be the next best.
Kayode Aderinokun is a former Lagos State chairman of the Association of Nigerian Authors, ANA. He's also an accomplished entrepreneur, writer, and literary advocate. We had a chat about his time as the ANA boss and a few related things. What was your experience like as chairman of Association of Nigerian Authors, Lagos Chapter?
That was a very pleasant and interesting experience. I served as chairman of Association of Nigerian Authors for 6-7 years. And interestingly enough, it was in those very heady days of military government and domination of our country, where writers were seen as opposition elements. And we didn't have to deal with only literary issues. We had to accommodate
political and social considerations too. Incidentally, it was while I was chairman that Ken Saro-Wiwa was killed, and that pitched us as writers and creative people against the government, because we were at the vanguard of protesting the killing of Ken Saro-Wiwa amongst some of our other compatriots who were either arrested, jailed, or detained. But we did not let that kill our creative fire and endeavors. We still managed to hold our regular meetings, which we call readings. We still managed to look at the fundamentals of why we are writers, which is to write, to inspire, to educate, and generally to be the leading lights of the nation.
The influence of writers back then on the Nigerian polity compared to the influence of writers on the Nigerian polity today?
Well, we usually start from one perspective. The first perspective is how interested is our government and our policymakers in education. So that is the first challenge for writers. And it all starts with even the proportion of the budget that is allocated towards education and other educational endeavors. I must say that we writers are not particularly encouraged by even the proportioning of resources towards education. When we are talking about writing, it encompasses everything. And in these days, writing is not all about the physical book. It has transfigured into so many areas of knowledge. There are quite a lot of people who say they get their information through the television, through the internet. There are so many other channels that knowledge and education is being circulated and dispersed. Now, we need to first tackle knowledge from the foundation. And the foundation is what the government, the private sector, the society is providing towards the encouragement of enlightenment. We writers generally wish that the society is better encouraged to support things that will expand the frontier of learning and knowledge and scholarship. So the government of the day certainly has improved a lot beyond what it was during the military era, when freedom was curtailed, even in expression. Now you can say a lot more, and because there is a certain degree of rule of law in the society, you are not likely to be gagged and thrown into detention. So in that wise, yes, the writing space is freer now.
How would you describe the reading culture in Nigeria today?
If one wants to really address the issue of the reading culture, one has to look at it more holistically than tying it to just the hardcover book. Now the book is on the internet. This year, we pioneered an e-library in Rotary for the simple reason that we thought that instead of resisting change, it is better you flow with change. I am a grand patron of Synergy Educational. What Synergy Educational strives to do is to address the deficiency in our educational system as it relates to the reading culture. We find out that it's very, very difficult for especially students and pupils to handle the book as we know it and digest it and enjoy it like we used to. But then the options were so limited then. We should try to attune ourselves and our thinking to the changing worlds of education. It is only then that you can get the best out of the younger generation whose own perspective of reading and knowledge acquisition is constantly changing. So we have to be changing along with them. That's about the only way. But if we rigidly say it is the book as we know it in the physical form that you want to use to communicate, we might not get the best out of it.
Thank you for coming on the channel.
Thank you very much for having me.
Our book of the week is A Long Walk to Freedom. It is the gripping autobiography of Nelson Mandela. We wish Madiba very quick recovery. Get yourself a copy and enjoy reading it. My name is Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.